So we know in ancient South Arabia, before the 4th century, you had a kind of traditional Arabian religion with many different gods, polytheism. And then in the 4th century, you have a shift towards monotheism.
Yes.
Veneration of one god who's called Rahmanan. There's a debate on the identity of these monotheists. Are they Jewish? Are they Judaizing monotheists? That's something that we don't need to go into now, though. But it's clear that they are monotheists. The other gods disappear from official public inscriptions, and you only have the veneration of one god. Now, if we look at the epigraphic record throughout the Arabian Peninsula, we see a similar trend. So in inscriptions before the 4th century CE, throughout the Hijaz, actually throughout all of Arabia, you have invocations to many gods. What happens is, as we look at and this is in a nice article published in 2022 by Leila Na'mi, she looks at the Nabatean and the Nabateo Arabic inscriptions from the Hijaz, mostly focusing on inscriptions from the northern Hijaz, because that's where most of the surveying has taken place. And she sees a sort of narrowing of the gods. So by the 4th, 5th century, early 5th century, you get 3 primary deities that are mentioned. The 3 gods are Al-Uzza, Manat, and Al-Lat, right? So these are the ones we know from the Quran, right? Sure. As you continue to move forward in time, when you get to the end of the 5th century and the 6th century, and by this time the Arabic script has fully evolved, the Nabateo Arabic script has fully evolved into the Arabic script. And once you reach this period, all the gods disappear, and all you have is devotion to one god, which is, and the time she wrote this article was Al-Ilah.
Yes.
Right? Al-Ilah. Now, since this article was written, I think, in 2018, but it didn't appear in publication until, or 2017, but it didn't appear in publication until 2022. So it's important to realize that that gap from preparing an article to publication, because between 2017 and 2022, dozens of new Paleo-Arabic inscriptions have been discovered from the Hijaz. And what they continue to record around, let's say, the area of Tabuk, between Tabuk and Medina, is the devotion to one god, but no longer spelled Al-Ilah, but spelled Alif Lam Ha or Lam Ha, clearly Allah, right? Now, the question was, what about the southern part of the Hijaz? What about the area around Mecca and Taif? Was this area a pagan reservation, to use Professor Azmi's term? Right? Yeah. Was this a pagan reservation? There were no surveys. Nobody had explored the area, so we simply had no inscriptions from them. So our field work led to the discovery of more inscriptions now from the Mecca Taif area. And these inscriptions only record devotion to Alif Lam Lam Ha, that is Allah.
Yes.
Right? So it continues this kind of monotheistic trend. So if we were to build an image based on the material evidence, the epigraphic record, we would say that the change that happened in South Arabia, 4th century shift to monotheism, seemed to actually be a peninsula-wide phenomenon, where you have this slow shift to monotheism in the Hijaz as well, where you have a transition period between the 4th and 5th centuries. And then once you get to the end of the 5th and the 6th century, all you get in the inscriptions are records or invocations to Alif Lam Lam Ha or Alif Lam Ha or Lam Ha, all being variants reflecting different scribal schools, strategies of spelling the name Allah. Now, well, that's a shocking result. And what we need to do then is take that result and sort of bring it into conversation with what the Quran is attesting.
Yes.
Right, because the
Quran speaks about opponents of the Prophet who acknowledge Allah, but then in certain occasions or for certain reasons return to their gods or the demons, as they're caricatured sometimes. Or
absolutely. And we can't use these sort of cheap explanations by saying, oh, pagans just didn't know how to write. Only monotheists knew how to write. Because we see from the inscriptional record that pagans did know how to write.
Yes, 50,000.
They were producing inscriptions. They were mentioning all the gods, and then they stopped doing that.
Yes.
And we need to explain that kind of change. One, I don't have an answer. I don't think we have materials at this point to have an answer yet to reconcile these two sources. one of the things that we see also in the inscriptional record, despite the text being monotheistic, only invoking God, seeking the forgiveness, they use the root ghafara, right? So it's the same root that's used in the Islamic tradition as well, seeking the forgiveness of Allah in pre-Islamic times, calling him Rabb, right? Which is a part of this package of Hebrew Aramaic liturgical terms that come into Arabia with the advent of monotheism.
Meaning Lord.
They urge the reader to obey God, right? All of these concepts are sort of alien to the let's say polytheistic Arabian religion that's apparent from the inscriptions that they produced centuries before that, right? These seem to be monotheistic concepts.
Yes.
So some kind of religious revolution seemed to have happened in the Hijaz in the century and in the 2 centuries preceding the rise of Islam that led to these new religious formulae, these new ways of expressing piety and the relationship between individuals and their deity. But we can't know at this moment what exactly it was. We only see, again, its shadow in the inscriptions.